Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome to an update video for Wild Rift patch 4.2. We're only a couple of weeks now until Wild Rift patch 4.2, which is supposed to be a big patch, new dragon, new items, new champions and everything like that. Now, one change that they actually didn't mention in the official breakdown video or the official 4.2 preview is what I'm going to be covering in this video. You can probably tell from the title and the thumbnail of the video, but we're going to be talking about Auto Smite. Now, for some reason, Riot Games have decided to release this video on the Wild Rift Brazilian channel, which I honestly don't know why. Obviously, Wild Rift in Brazil is very, very big. I'm not too sure how big it is now compared to what it was when esports was the thing over in Brazil. I know the Brazilian audience is very, very huge, but this is a change that needs to be addressed and needs to be talked about, because I'm not happy with this. And I think most, if not all of the players are not going to be happy with this. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about MOBAs in general and just about, you know, skill and everything like that, especially with mobile games. Now, I'm someone that's come over from PC League of Legends. I played PC League of Legends pretty much my whole life until Wild Rift came out. The reason why I played Wild Rift now is that it's just a lot more easier, it's a lot more fun, the games are quicker, it's action-packed, there's still a lot of skill involved, but slowly and slowly they're starting to take the skill away from the game, and they're basically trying to make this game as noob-friendly as possible. Things like Camille's first ability that got changed, things like combos like the Pulverize for Jace or the Shock Blast Acceleration Gate from Jace, changes like that. They've made a lot of changes that have made the game a lot easier for new players. Now, I don't have anything wrong with the game going into more of a new player base. I mean, I'm a person that always wants to help new players, whether it's to do with breakdowns with videos. I always like to do videos, and I always like to break down builds and items because I know it's important for everyone to understand the game. I have my own website where I do a whole build breakdown for every single build, and I always update that every single patch, and I always want to try my best to try and help new players get into the game, and I want to help the game grow, whether it's through esports, whether it's through, you know, commentating, whether it's through, you know, anything like that. But this is a change I am not happy with, and I think a lot of people won't be happy with. Now, if you do remember, I will get into the video in a second. I kind of just want to rant a little bit. If you remember, they did ultra rapid fire, whatever it's called, the mode, and they basically added Auto Smite into the mode. Now, I was like, cool, whatever, they're just adding it into Earth, they're probably just testing it out, they're probably just going to be like a cool little thing, maybe for a unique game mode in the future or something like that. But now what you're going to notice in this video is that they're bringing it over to the actual game. Now, we'll talk a little bit about details about what Rogueful and not too sure who the other person is, I can't remember his name. This is very worrying. This should have been released on the official channel. This should have been a patch 4.2 preview. And I think that devs need to talk to their players, because I'm not happy with this change. I think it takes out a lot of skill in the game. I have so many question marks about what's happening. I mean, this was released an hour ago on the Wild Rift Brazilian server. Wild Rift Brazilian channel. Again, I'm not too sure why. I'm not too sure why this was skipped out of the patch 4.2 preview. But anyway, enough of that. Let's go into the video, and I'll talk in a little bit more detail on what my thoughts are on how they're explaining the game. Like I said, they're basically trying to make this game as noob friendly kind of as possible. Unless it's just complete memes, which I highly doubt. Obviously, Rogueful is very popular on Reddit.
Also known as Nakaris.
Trin.
I'm a systems and balance designer for Wild Rift.
If you can hear this, I'll probably turn
talk
up.
to you about Execute Smite.
Execute. Just the word Execute Smite just tilts me. I'm just saying that already.
So where did this all start? It started with the game's controls. It can be really complicated when all of the game's abilities prioritize hitting champions over everything else, except for Smite. Smite ends up having situations where you will smite a champion, you might smite an objective, and it isn't clear when this happens. And it's even worse when it's the only ability that this happens with. So it can lead to situations where the game behaves like you wouldn't expect it to. Things behave differently, and that ambiguity can be frustrating and let your team down.
All right, imagine you're jungling. You're in the dragon pit.
I just watching
your
this,
health's low, the
just
dragon
I don't
health's
know.
low, and the enemy jungler walks up.
Yes.
What do you do in that situation?
It's stressful, and I think for a lot of players, they don't even know what would happen.
I'm gonna pause it right here. I'm already getting tilted. I'm already just getting okay. So the whole thing about junglers and the whole thing about smiting in PC League of Legends was such a big thing. Whether it's to do with smite steals, whether it's to do with smite cooldowns, smiting champions, smiting objectives, and deciding what to do. That's the fun part about the game, and that's the skill part about the game, is knowing what to smite, in what situation, who to smite, where to smite, when to smite. That's the whole skill point of smite. Whether you want to smite the objective to try and steal it, whether you want to smite the champion to deal damage to them, whether you want to smite the jungle camp for HP, anything like that. I do not understand whether they'll explain in a little bit more detail where they're going with this, but I honestly don't know why they're making smite auto smite. Because the thing is that when you go into an objective, for example, okay, say for example there's a competitive game. Again, I feel like they're just going completely away from competitive now. I have no idea what this is going to do to competitive, what this is going to do to Wild Rift Asia scene. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, so going into this, into competitive, how are they going to work with objectives? Say for example 2 junglers are next to the objective, next to dragon. Who the hell's going to get the Execute Smite? How do you know who's going to get the Execute Smite? Is it the champion that's going to be closest? Is it the champion that is auto attacking and deals the most damage to the dragon? Is it the champion that I have no idea how they are going to balance that or do anything like that at all? Exactly. I don't know.
I mean, do you fight the enemy jungler? Do you smite them for damage? Do you smite the dragon right away?
This is what I was explaining. Like,
hold smite and try and secure the objective.
Like, this is the whole point of Smite and it being a skill game. MOBAs are supposed to be about skill. That's the whole point of why everyone loves MOBAs. There's a lot of skill involved. There's a lot of decision making involved. Every single game is different. That's why people love watching competitive in MOBAs as well, because them intense Baron stills or intense dragon fights or Elder Dragon stills or anything like that. There's so many moments that I've been casting and everything in Wild Rift competitive, and I thought to myself, wow, that's bloody amazing. You know, Vex, Andres smite stealing multiple objectives at the WREC finals. Singapore as well, long smite stealing plenty objectives to win the Icons Global Championship. There's so many cool moments that people will remember for pretty much the rest of their life, because that's what esports and that's what the game is all about, is these high intense moments and players, and having that difference between people that are new to the game and people that are at a high skill level, people that are pro players, because they know what to do in these positions. They know what to do in these situations. Hey, if I'm in this situation, all I do is black shield myself. I make sure the Jax can't stun me. I do enough damage to the dragon. Heck, I only need to do 200 damage, 200, 350 damage to the dragon, which I should do with my pool anyway at level 12, because I do enough damage. Black shield myself, don't get stunned, take the objective and take the L. I'm totally happy with that situation. This is a pretty bad scenario in my opinion, in terms of when to make the decision. Like, when will we ever smite the Jax and everything? I don't know. Like, I don't know how this situation is going to work, but anyway, we'll carry on with this.
It's this high profile, high stress situation that can be really intimidating for players.
Yeah,
the last thing we want.
It's intimidating for new players, but for people that understand the role and for people that want to improve at the game, we're getting into a situation now with Wild Rift where there is going to be no difference between a low skill player and a high skill player. Yeah, there'll be mechanics. Yeah, there'll be, you know, CSing, knowing what to do, positioning, rotations, and all that sort of stuff. But all the basic mechanics, Camille, for example, like I said, Jace, all these champions that are getting very, very easy to use now. Heck, now they're even using Execution Smite, which
want players to worry.
I don't know what I think about it.
Controls. If you tap cast,
really
Smite,
don't know what I think about it.
Is it going to target the enemy champion or the dragon?
See, I understand what they're saying with that, with like, okay, Smite, you don't know whether you're going to be focusing the dragon or you don't know whether you're going to be focusing the champion or anything like that. Didn't they? I'm pretty sure I remember Wild Rift actually adding in a change where they changed Smite to go near, like when you're attacking or when you're near the dragon, it will always cast on the dragon. If I remember that correctly, I'm pretty sure there was a change a couple of months ago now where they were like, oh, if you stand near a objective, near a dragon, you're always going to smite the dragon. Which, to be fair, you want to all the time anyway. I don't think there's ever a situation where you want to smite a champion rather than smiting an objective, especially when you're jungler, you're close to objective, you're trying to steal it. I don't know any situation where you want to try and smite a champion at all.
Execute Smite
So I don't
is not a spell. It's a passive.
This is
something you
I do not like
when you
this.
Select jungle in champ select. When you
Okay, this is another
something you
thing.
opt into when you select jungle in champ select.
Okay, this is another thing that I have a problem with. If it is a passive, then how are we supposed to change jungle roles in champ select? At the moment, you can just equip smite, you can change smite, you can take out smite, you can have multiple smites if you really want to, even though that's a really bad thing. But say, for example, I get filled jungle. Jungle is always my last role just because I don't really like it playing it and I don't really enjoy playing it. If I get jungle as my 5th role, how am I supposed to swap to another player if someone else wants to fill jungle for me? If someone else wants to play jungle for me, lets me go to their lane. Because it is a passive now in champ select, how will that work? Is it something that we just click? Is it a tick button that we can just click and be like, cool, we have auto smite now? How does that work in champ select, and how are we going to rotate the roles, or how are we going to get into a situation where we're not going to have 2 execution smites? Heck, there might even be a situation where everyone has execute smite. Will we still have the same XP problems that we have before? Will people just be able to tick a box just to troll now? Like, there's plenty of trolls in solo queue. If it's just a tick of a button that is like, cool, I equipped auto smite, everyone can just tick the button and just completely troll the game, and then they get less XP, and then they just completely troll the game. Like, when do we ever get in a situation where that happens? You know, there's so many question marks with this.
When you land on the rift, you'll see execute thresholds on the health bars.
Look at this,
Camps,
though.
Scuttler, Herald, Dragon.
But this, I don't know how this works with dragons and everything. Like, okay, heck, there's a situation where dragon and scuttle crab are low. How are you supposed to know whether you're going to execute smite the scuttle crab or execute smite the dragon? What if they're both in range? They both go low enough on health to execute smite? Is there a cooldown? What is going on? Like, what is happening? It just does not make sense.
Execute smite lowers
It's crazy.
the health of a monster below that threshold. The monsters execute smite. And here's the best part. We get to give junglers something they've wanted for years.
Yes, cool. Whoop-de-doo. 2 spells.
Like, imagine if you're taking ignite.
Yes, this doesn't mean that much of a difference.
Ignite into that gank.
Yeah,
Or if you want a meme gank with heal, you can ghost in through lane and heal at the perfect moment.
No, I did not just do they play their own game? I want to run. I don't know. I'm so, oh, please Riot, talk to your players. Please, no one wants this. He just said that you can ghost and heal at the perfect point. Do they not know that heal doesn't work like that anymore? Heal gives your ally more HP than yourself. Why would someone ever take heal if they're playing in jungle, if they want to gank? Just take barrier, just take ignite, just take flash, whatever. You're gonna heal at the perfect moment. What, I'm gonna walk up to my lane, I'm gonna heal my Baron laner to full HP? Huh?
Making the perfect bait and switch game.
Huh?
Don't just let your memes be dreams.
So we hear your concerns that this might be oversimplifying things. And really what we're wanting to do is shift focus out of the jungler being the one who's solely responsible for these objectives in this PvE scenario into PvP focused areas where the jungler is going to get a new combat spell that they can bring into their ganks. Fizz, for example, is going to be able to take Ignite, something he's used to from ganking in mid lane, into the jungle role and secure the ganks that way. Objectives themselves will be very team focused, where you're able to lock down the opponent's jungler or intercept spells so that they can't secure it.
How am I supposed to know who has smite here?
Objectives themselves will be
how am I supposed to know who?
Very team focused, where you're able to lock.
I mean, objectives already team focused. That's fine. Like, where is the fun in Lee Sin jumping into the pit? Is it just a situation where if a jungler gets crowd controlled in the dragon pit, then the other person uses Execute Smite, or the other person has Execute Smite? Like, how does that work?
Down the opponent's jungler or intercept spells so that they.
So he taunted the Lee Sin, which allowed him to execute Smite. So that's what we're getting into now. So now it's just, if the enemy jungler jumps in, there's the only way that you can take objectives now is through combat abilities. Whether it's Jin Force Shot, Nunu Consume, I don't know, Lee Sin Q, auto attacks from an AD carry. That's how we're securing objectives now. But then if two junglers are in the same pit, if one of them gets crowd controlled, then the other one can take it with Execute Smite. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know.
Curate.
I really don't know.
It also means that you're going to have Smite available for every encounter, whether that's with a red buff or a dragon, and you're not going to have to worry if your jungler used it in the fight just before the objective.
This also means that we can't use Smite on maybe big like raptors, Krugs, Golem, maybe something like that, I guess, because the only ones they've mentioned right now is red buff, blue buff, and the big objectives, which is Dragon, Baron, and Rift Herald, which is going to make jungle clear insanely slow, like insanely slow. I mean, at the moment you can have Smite up, what, 3 times, and you can clear through the jungle camp within like 1 minute 40 most of the time. How slow is it going to be when we have Execute Smite and it only works on red buff and blue buff? I don't know.
We hope this makes jungle more interesting. And as always,
really,
we'll be listening to your feedback.
Yeah, please listen to feedback, please. Chat, please, can you do all you can to share this video and share your concerns with this? Because I honestly think if there is someone in the comments or someone watching this video now that actually thinks this is a good change, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to know your opinions. But for me and for other people, I've already seen a lot of bad reaction on social media already. I'm sure there's going to be more bad reaction from competitive players and everything else. Yeah, if you think it's going to be a good change, let me know down in the comments. But if you think it's going to be a bad change, please try and get in contact with these devs, and please, we need to do something to change this game, please. I don't know what to say. I'm lost. I'm completely lost. Like,
focused.
I don't know what to say. They're simplifying the game. Like, they say that they know that we're going to be worried about simplifying the game, but all they're doing every single patch and every single update is simplifying the game, whether it's champions, whether it's objectives, whether it's now Smite. I just don't understand where they're going with this game in general. Like I said, I think the direction that they are going with this game now is they are making this as noob friendly and as casual based as possible, so then a lot of new players will join. The problem is that the high skilled players, which has already happened in multiple regions, are just going to leave the game, because then there's going to be no skill involved in the game. There's going to be nothing basically. I mean, already a lot of pro players and a lot of high school players already left the game because of obviously esports, and this just makes me even more worried about the game with esports, because how is esports going to work with auto smite? I generally do not know how that is going to work. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I found out this video, I just got home from MSI, and I needed to kind of come on here and rant and talk to you about my thoughts, because I think this is probably the worst change that I think I've seen in Wild Rift. It's a bit of an exaggeration, maybe an over exaggeration. At the same time, I don't think this is an over exaggeration. I do not like this change at all. I think it takes away the skill from the game. I think it takes away everything that you know and love about jungle, whether it be competitive, whether it be solo queue games, everything like that. I feel like they're just taking everything away from the game, from it trying to be skill based, and they're trying to just make this as noob and beginner friendly as possible. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this little rant. Like I said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll read all the comments. I'll try and reply to all the comments as well. Again, let me know your thoughts. And yeah, I'll see you all next one. Take care of yourselves. Peace.